Now we have a fixed point, matter and information. It's a bit like glasses. We will look at the world. And using this matter information, the couple, we will see three big things, three big challenges, three big changes. Number one, only about matter. Number two, only about information. And number three, about a shift from matter to information. So let's start with number one, matter. What's the issue? Very simple. For centuries, people tend to believe matter is unlimited. Even 200 years ago, nobody ever imagined a limit to matter. Wood, coal, air, water was supposed to be infinite. Now we know this is not true. There is a limit to matter. Water, metal, everything has a limit. And this is, of course, the environmental challenge. That's a really big thing. When I was born, on this planet, there was 2.5 billion people. Can you imagine that? When I was born. When I'm going to die, maybe, 9 billion, maybe 10 billion. It's incredible. Can you imagine the period of time we live in? So on a century times 4 or 5, this is incredible. And it happens now. This is a really big thing. Another threshold is a couple of years ago. Now we can tell a majority of people on the planet lives in cities. And that's another big change. So there is something big around matter. That's challenge number one. There is also something big in terms of information. And it's exactly the opposite. For centuries, people believed there was a limit to information. Information was manageable. Now we know there is no limit to information. You see, it's exactly the opposite. Matter is limited, information is not. If you take Pic de la Mirandole, Italian philosopher in the 1500 something, he wanted to know everything. It was more or less not possible, but at least thinkable. This Leibniz would be the same. Probably the last man who had such a project was Stuart Mill. I don't know, maybe it's him. And in the Enlightenment period of time, they wrote the Encyclopedia. And this was not built by a person. They realized we need a team. So you see, information is unlimited. And there is another big thing. How can we process an infinity of information? And new technology, new mindset, new system has to be developed to cope with the second type of challenge. As an illustration, I want to show you something. Probably you know this is called Fermat's theorem. You remember at the beginning of this lecture, I showed the table with the end of. You could write a book, The End of the Proof. What's the story of Fermat? It was in the 17th century. Fermat, a French mathematician, told the world this equation has no solution if n is not equal to 2. Of course, if n is equal to 2, there is a solution. For example, 9 and 16 is 25. That's easy. But Fermat claimed there is no solution if n is more than 2. For 300 centuries, nobody has found a proof for that. 20 years ago, an English mathematician called Wiles finally got the proof. But it took 2 years to be verified by a community of mathematicians. So with this explosion of information, we maybe will reach the end of the proof. If the next big theorem requires 10 years to be verified, maybe we reach the end of the proof. Isn't that amazing? I'll have an example here. Those couple are called twin prime numbers. 11 and 13 are prime numbers and are twin because they're only 2 as a difference. The same for 29 and 31. So there is a claim there is an infinity of prime twin numbers. Nobody has proven it. And maybe the proof is impossible because it takes too much time to verify the proof. So you see, we are really in the second challenge, this infinity of information. Again, we need new mindset, new attitudes, new system to cope with the real change which is now on the planet. So this is for challenge 1 and 2. The big one is challenge 3, but that's going to be the next video.